The story of the film begins thousands of years ago and shows that the Tashbeera Base is made up of sorcerers belonging to the evil organization called Acheron. Or now we see the sorcerers making a mask from the skulls of those who died, and this mask returns the souls of the dead to their bodies and brings them back alive. If they want this mask to work, they must sacrifice their daughters, or they must give her away. An offering to their gods, and their gods are called the dark gods. If they don't fix Haichi, the mask will never work. And here we see them fighting with the other tribes, and they seem to be preparing or killing anyone who stands in their way. Or there is no one besides you who can stop them, or stop them at all, because they are very strong, except for the Berber tribe, which are the only ones who were able to enter with them in a fierce battle, and were able to defeat them and take the mask and break it. And the Berber tribes agreed. Each tribe takes a part of him and annexes it underground, or it must be annexed by someone who knows him, and they are the same as Hechianud. No one can collect the mask again and use it, but there is a legend that says that there is a baby that will come after many years and will be able to collect the mask once in a while, and here a long period of time will pass, and we will see. The Samaritan bomb, the leadership of Khorne, and they were fighting another tribe. The war was raging between them, or the wife of Khorne Chan was fighting while she was pregnant, and in the middle of the battle she took aim, and the wound was serious. And before she died, the Khorne said, "Open my belly for me," and the child appeared on the verge of seeing him before I die. Or in fact, Khorne did what she told him. While she sees her child and names him Conan, right behind her is her death. Or after a long period of time we see Conan as he grows up, and Chan is a very nervous child. And now we see his father as he gathers all the members of the tribe in a mode that trains them and tests them and sees who among them is useful to become a warrior with them. Or after that, Conan arrives late, and his father. He is allowed to enter, and the test is that each one of them leaves an egg in his throat and walks a certain distance. Then he returns, and whoever passes this test will become a warrior like them. So they reject the children, and each one begins to push the other on a mode that wins. But suddenly a number of his gang appear in the forest. They seem to be running after the children, and here the children became afraid, and all of them returned, but they were not afraid. He goes and runs at them, but someone from afar hit him and knocked him to the ground, and they surrounded him from all sides. Their shapes were strange and terrifying, so one person goes and tries to make sure they are part of his hair. But because they were an attack, or he was destined to fall and take it, or then there would be strong clashes between him and the gang. Indeed, it is a destiny that will save them all. Or after a short period, Corona returns to his tribe, or Chan, and he is the heads of the whole gang. He is the one who needs them all in his hands. We also know that the egg in her throat was not broken. Indeed, my father agreed to him joining the warriors. My father took him and taught him how to make a sword, but the first sword that Chan made was a great failure, and it broke because the sword was weak. Or his father saw him teaching him the correct way to make swords. Or he taught him a way to make a sword that is strong and does not break. And now we see him and his father Chan trains him to the utmost with the training and conditions, and he can. His father, with simple movements, defeats him and tells him that you are not yet ready to become a warrior, because he is influenced by his father. Or after a while he sees that he is alone in the forest, and a large number of fighters pass from his right, and they were going to die for the tribe. When they connect the two kisses, a strong battle takes place between them, with a large number of fighters passing from his right. From both sides, but the enemy is stronger than them. They were able to kill a large number of them, or they also started breaking down and burning homes. Or now we see Conan coming and starting to fight the enemies, and at that moment he puts his father, Absham, at his back. Then he falls to the ground, and they force him to tie him with a chain, and they take him. One of them, Okorni, would like to have a chance to catch it or start killing them all, but they were outnumbered or able to restrain him. They quickly tied him with a chain and connected it to a pot with molten iron. Little by little, they seemed to bring the iron down on his body. Fakar Chant has a structure called Mary and High. Mary had the power of intelligence, So her father asked her to throw the piece of bone, and here she used her power and saw that it was inside the ground in a box. In fact, he took what Chan wanted, and Chan wanted to spray the rest of the iron on Corn Ali and kill him, but Corn quickly grabbed the chain and did not let it fall on his father, and it was insulting to us. She takes the sword, and Conan or her father promises her and tells her who will collect the channel. I will go back to life, and he will forgive them and leave. So he was bound by the chain. But his father knew that he would not be able to save him on the condition that he would give his son a chance to escape so that they would not kill him. And here it moves, because he still needs the chain, so he goes and takes the sword, and he promises himself that he will take revenge on Kahar, or after a long period of these events, exceeding 20 years, we see that he is working, and a pirate named him, and two of them attack a slave camp and throw huge stones at the camp, and the camp is destroyed, or after him they enter with them. They seem to kill all the soldiers and free the slaves, so they take the slaves and go to a nightclub. At that moment they arrive at a group of soldiers, and their leader is Lucius, who lost his temper when he was young, and now we see them looking for someone named Elan, and they looked at him on a model telling him that his oppression has become very strong. No one dares to confront or challenge him. And here he began to look at the structure of her pure blood. Maud can offer her a sacrifice and use the mask. After he knew Kahir's whereabouts, he left the keys and held the prison cell around his throat. He gives it to the prisoners and tells them the keys are in his stomach. Here they appear to be attacking him, cutting open his stomach and taking out the keys. As for Elan, he goes to Conan and tells him that I am in such and such a place. If you need me for anything, come to me. Then he told me that Artu is a friend, and I will take revenge on my oppression alone. And at this moment we see him in a distant city. The temple was telling Altamara that I saw in a dream a very strong warrior who was going to take you from the city and bring back something godlike. Then the Kahramari arrived on the road. They attacked the city and began to search for any structure. A clean tear from the Assyrians, and the army began to demolish the city, and the people were terrified and afraid. Or compulsive and base soldiers fight all people without mercy. As for Tamara, she seemed to be fighting them. But the creature comes and tells her to run away quickly because he said he would come and take her with him. In fact, she escapes and rides in one of Kahir's vehicles on someone who suspects her. Here, Conan sees the horses and he goes on them because he thought he was a blacksmith there. Or after that he goes and climbs on one of them or breaks the roof. And here Tamara appears. She is trying to defend herself. She was trying to hit him with a knife. But Kar's soldiers see her and she wants to escape. So they go to her on a condition that they need her, but Conan starts fighting them. She decided to take a horse from them, but Remo never forgave him and kept following her. Before he could force her, Conan appeared to you and was able to save her, but suddenly they found a hobby of their own for him. He started fighting them all. And he actually left. But he forgot a map on the ship. A map of Tamara, and he tells her that she has a god. Indeed, she follows him until she reaches him, or then they continue on the road together. When night comes, they go to the cave and sleep in it. Or did you think that Conan was asleep, saying goodbye and returning to the ship? And halfway through, she was surprised to see an oppressive army ambushing her, and in fact, they were able to kidnap her, or whoever was sitting in Conan kept looking for her, but he saw traces of her and he knew that they had kidnapped her, and whoever would actually want her to the king, his daughter would come or taste her blood, you would know that she was one of the Assyrians. And then he found out that they were going to the thieves' city on Modelka, his friend's island. Whoever arrived at Bar Photos, the owner of the place, on his behalf, or the owner of the place refused to answer him, or whoever wanted to kill him, his friend came and told him that this is my friend, and you must leave him. He wants to guide them, and they actually go to the castle that has a model entrance to the castle, and they are able to enter it with ease, and they seem to open door after door, and here is for them, and they enter a tunnel under the ground, and they discover that it is guarded by water and skeletons, and they are afraid and start walking. And when the guard sees them, he pulls the chains and the slaves come down and appear. They attack them, and the worst thing is that a huge amount of life comes out of the air, Or in fact, Elon and Conan were destined to defeat them all, or those who emerge from a place discover that the bad guys are taking Tamara up the mountain, and they are about to perform their rituals on her, and then they go and those who arrive kill any guard they see. Here, someone is destined to see Tamara's blood, and indeed it does. The mask began to work, or Caher began to say the spell on a manager who brought his wife back to life. But before he could complete it, it appeared to him and His Excellency came, and instead of it collapsing, the chain to which Tamara was tied broke and began to fall and became stuck between the two mountains. After that, Conan began to rescue Maud, so Caher took him down, and unfortunately a fierce battle began between them. Or after a while it was a fight and they would get him out of the place, or he was destined to free Tamara, and he was telling her to run away quickly, and they continued the fight between them, but the place collapsed little by little, and in the end, Tamara was destined for him to become disturbed. But what I could do was for him to smell her scent and reach her, or for a battle to start between them, and it would also happen. I want you to defeat her, but before she kills her, Conan comes or hits her and drops her from a high place. She falls on a stake hammered into the ground that can pierce her body. She dies, or after the mark, because they tried to escape, but those who arrived and returned crossed the wood. It broke inside her and did not fall. But because they were destined to need her hands quickly, or whoever wants to withdraw it will come to Caher. He seemed to complete the spell. Indeed, Tamara began to transform into the form of Caher's wife. So Tamara begged him that I was about to die, and the spell failed. But if he refused and it was his destiny, he would gather his strength and strike the air like an escape with the sword, or then he would knock him down and kill him, and in the end the spell would go away with him. And now he sees Tamara returning to her natural form, and it was his destiny that he would save her, and they would escape from the cave before it collapsed or first, or the cave collapsed behind them, and Conan was destined to return her to her village. He promised her that he would meet her again, so he went to his father's grave, and prayed for him, and left the sword for him, and said to him,